Hello there. My name is Three of Spades. I'm making this PSA because I'd like to ask you a simple question. And no, I'm not Wilford Brimley, so this is not about diabetes, and nor is this about Planned Parenthood. Are you sick and tired of AAA games that have all of these stupid restrictions? Do you not like being nickeled and dimed for all these little stupid things in games? Hats and skins and things that just used to be free? You just want a fun game that might be cheap, but it kind of looks good, you know. It doesn't look like some garbage or some aesthetic that also belongs in the garbage. And you're not really interested in playing any of the lovely pornography games on Steam. I say that with sarcasm if you can't tell, because that's fucking gross. Well then, what is left for you? Well, you could always go into the tactical genre where there's more infighting than NFL, or you could have a look at what I enjoy, perhaps. Now, this isn't going to be a catch 20, catch 22, catch all, but I do know that I enjoy these particular things and I don't enjoy other stuff. It's not to say I won't ever dabble with the other stuff, it's just I have problems with it that make them distracting in a way. To where I just can't play them for extended periods, or otherwise I don't care for them very long. So, I'm somebody who grew up with the Xbox 360 and games like Call of Duty, games like Star Wars The Force Unleashed, games like Tron Evolution, and games like Lego Star Wars, Lego Lord of the Rings, Lego Harry Potter, Disney Infinity, Disney Universe, and a fair decent amount of Pixel Gun and Minecraft. And what I kind of find that I like in games is games that are spooky. Maybe not so much violent, but they have dark settings or themes or tones. They have destruction, but they also have building in a way. Maybe not so much like Fortnite or Minecraft, but the idea that you are building buildings or you're building a fort or something is pretty cool, like tower defense even. And there's some ultimate goal, like say Plants vs Zombies or something, and your ultimate goal is to survive or whatever it be. You're doing levels like it's Mario. A lot of people I notice tend to not know where to find some decent games that they can run on their computers. And my game is certainly an option, but no one really gives a crap about my shitty game. So, what about some other options? Let's say you want to play something that isn't any of the normal, anime or weird PlayStation 2 stuff that you didn't grow up with and don't care about, even though that stuff just uses the graphics and that's not what made those games good. Um, Here's a bunch of options. It's been forever since I've done a list like this, but I think it's pretty important now. Line of Sight is a pretty decent one. I haven't seen many people talk about this anymore, but it's basically Call of Duty with magic. Battle Teams 2 is like Chinese Call of Duty. And yeah, there's a lot of big tits in here, but actually no one, with the exception of maybe one loser, decides to ever use those because they all want to be the USA, which is kind of funny because they're all from China and they hate Chinese shit. Gotta tell you, I do too. But this game's pretty cool. There's Black Squad, although I probably wouldn't touch this with a 15-foot pole because this game is like really dead and infested with a few aimbot or matches. There's Iron Sight, but this game does not have any content. It's about as close to Call of Duty Online as you can possibly get, because they won't release COD Mobile on PC, unless you want to fuck around with the Game Loop emulator, and I really wouldn't recommend that. One game that I tend to enjoy, that I find myself coming back to quite a lot, is a game called Earthfall. It's about $20, and it's a game that nobody really talks about because it just didn't really have a whole lot of content, but I'm somebody who used to play a lot of Left 4 Dead 2, so a game that's basically just Left 4 Dead 2 with aliens and Unreal Engine 4. And you can actually dual wield the Desert Eagles. It's pretty fun. So that's another game. Um, And they also have fun little tower defense mechanics. You can build little walls and auto turrets and make traps and bases and stuff. It's pretty neat. Although it doesn't have a lot of content, what I tend to enjoy about it is it's like a window into what could have been if Valve had actually done a lot of that stuff that was cut from the first Left 4 Dead that I've seen on YouTube. Now, I don't really care much for Valve and their cut content, but somebody actually making it somewhat polished and on a better engine than crappy old decrepit Source engine, which is still full of more holes than Swiss cheese and Call of Duty's netcode. That's a plus in my eyes. So, what's another one? Well, one I tend to like quite a lot, and it's not one that usually comes to mind because I just said how Valve's Source engine sucks, but it's another one that nobody really talks about, Alien Swarm Reactive Drop, which I think they literally did one advertisement for, but this game has a first-person mode, and that as well is probably one of my favorite games to mess around with because this is, in its own means, an officially sanctioned kind of Left 4 Dead 3 by Valve. I like looking at things that didn't get made, like kind of cut content, but not exactly the way that people say like Half-Life 2 or whatever, stuff that nobody really is interested in. And stuff that has bad reviews or people don't care for or is mixed, because usually I tend to find more enjoyable and rewarding experiences in lesser known games, because the ones that people do know are usually infested with 12-year-olds who like anime and think they're Japanese, even though Filthy Frank told them otherwise. They still didn't listen. Glad that guy got out of the blacklist, so more people can get him in his recommended. God knows, I need to see him. Anyway, tangent. Bretta Applied Sciences on Steam has a collection of a lot of free games, and so does DigiPen. And not all of them are good, but there are quite a few that I have played from that are pretty fun. So if you're like me, you don't really care for YouTube as much, because usually anything regarding games devolves into a pissing match between a bunch of people who act like they're high schoolers, even though they're a bunch of idiots and random strangers on the internet who you will never meet, nor do I have any care for. Like after the 15th debate about some obscure video game for the 90s whose creators probably killed themselves or something, do you really give a shit? No. So just find something fun to play. And that's what I do. And what's fun to me is going to be not a lot of fun to somebody else. So trying to quantify and compare and all this crap, who cares? You can rank all of this stuff as much as you like, but why not just have room in your heart for both, I think I can be a lot more generous on a game that's bad, but at least tried, at least cared. A game that I think a lot of people hate, but I can tell they cared, or at least tried. And in particular, I think was, strangely enough, Sniper Ghost Warrior and Hunt Down the Freeman. Now, Ghost Warrior 3 isn't exactly breaking any of the mold by doing just a kind of generic Ubisoft open world game, but it's a game that requires a little more patience than just running and gunning. Plus, the simulation stuff is pretty fun. It's a decent sniper game. So, if you're like me and you like sniping and stuff on occasion with a keyboard and mouse, because I ain't sniping with a fucking keyboard and control, you couldn't pay me to do that, then, yeah, it's pretty fun. And Hunt Down the Freeman is a game that absolutely was terrible. There's not much that can be redeemed about it, but it is kind of fun to play because of what they tried to do with the story. Not that they at all got it, but that they tried, It was clear that they definitely got the right guy for the G-Man, and I don't know where the fuck this dude found these people, but anyway, tangent again. So, more free stuff I'll talk about in another video. This was just some games. Felt it was helpful to provide some examples of fun things I like, because nobody really seems to think of solutions. They just talk about problems again and again and again, but nothing really ever gets solved. So, if you want to solve whatever problem you think is important in a video game, whether it be something's way too pricey, it doesn't work, it's broken, well, figure out what it is you like about that game, and then try to find something that you do like in another game with that similar interest, if that helps. Because it's not like these AAA game companies are going to actually give a shit anytime soon. So realistically, why not just do what you want? Games are supposed to be about having fun, not about making everyone think the way you do. Because guess what? Nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares. I know I'm really making a difference with this YouTube channel that has not even 200 subscribers after 7 years. Yeah, this is really some good fucking content, right? So, no, I'm not trying to change your mind. I'm just saying what I think. Even though I could easily give you some good advice, no one will listen. So, I'm going to listen to my own advice and do what I want for me. So these are things I want. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you find any of this helpful, then good for you. I hope you enjoyed these games. If not, then honestly, I don't really care why. Later.